So for the next few videos that I am going to put out on YouTube, I will be discussing a topic that is probably going to have people coming for me. People will probably be offended and upset, and that's really not my intention, but I feel as if I've started this conversation before and I've not pushed through because I really don't want the heat. I really don't. But at the same time, as a parent, as a teacher, as an advocate for using writing as a tool for wellness, I really feel that this is a discussion, a conversation that I want to open up and have. And I will say this, if you feel offended or attacked by what I am about to say, then you are not the audience for this video. Then this video is not for you. My channel is not for you. I am not for you. We are not a part of the same community. And while I feel like everyone is entitled to his or her or their own opinion, I will ask you kindly not to share your disapproval or upset or whatever disgruntled opinion you might have. Do not share it in my comments because I will delete it. I am sharing this to add voice, to provide a safe space for the people who feel a lot like I do. I know you are out there. I feel you. And so I will do whatever I can to provide a space where we can have this conversation, learn from each other, explore what might be going on, and maybe come out better and stronger at the other end of this. Now, I'm not even showing my face. What you see is a bunch of stuff on my desk. And it's a collection of probably a couple of thousands of dollars worth of journaling, notebook, planner, pen, paper, supplies, analog tools. And you would think, looking at them, I would be able to happily say that I am a planner addict or I am obsessed with journaling. But you're not going to hear that come from me because I really dislike using terms like addict or addiction or obsessed or obsession with reference to anything that I choose to spend my time or my resources like money. And actually time is a resource, probably my most valuable resource on. So it's going to take a number of videos to really capture everything that I want to talk about when it comes to this topic. But I want to start here. I read a report recently that a record number of Americans, 61%, reported that inflation was causing hardship for their households. We're also faced with serious climate issues and energy supply issues, which are most definitely exacerbated by industry and manufacturing, which produce emissions. And Americans are drinking more than they ever have before, like since the Civil War. And they're hitting the hard stuff. One study, at least one study, has found that alcohol-related deaths are quickly rising in American women. And yet, when I search for journaling on YouTube, on Instagram, on any of the social media platforms, what I find are tons of videos made by young women, typically young to 20 to 40-year-old white women who don't seem to have a care in the world beyond making their journals and planners pretty. More often than not, I see nicely manicured hands. I see people talking about planners and notebooks in the same soft, soothing tone. And I am creeped out by it. I am genuinely creeped out by it. The homogeneity, the sameness of the videos that I find, first of all, feel as if I'm like stuck in the matrix. They are on repeat. They are all the same. Whether it is a Hobonichi Techo or I don't know the names of them all, some other sort of planner, the message always seems to be the same. If one just had the right planner, if one chooses the right layout, if one has the right pen or the right highlighters with which to color code their activities throughout the day, and if they sit for hours toiling, blocking things off, color coding them, writing them in neat little handwriting with fine point gel pens, then somehow their lives will be better. And people aspire to do this. People aspire to have their notebooks look like the notebooks that they see being shared in these YouTube videos, and they feel inspired by them. And all I can think about is the amount of energy, time, and money that are wasted on these endeavors. Now I get it. Some people are going to say, well, it's stress relieving, and I do this in my downtime when I'm not doing anything else so that I can relax. And that might be true for some people, but I'm going to call bullshit on it for a lot of people who are spinning their wheels trying to keep up with the popular girls who seem to have these pretty notebooks while they are trying to figure out why they don't have the time, the money, the patience, the discipline, the neat handwriting, the artistic skills to make their own look that way in the hopes of, I don't know what. I'm not quite sure what the end goal is. I'm not quite sure if it is the means or the end to the means. I am not sure if it is a matter of having a notebook or a planner or an organizer or a journal that looks a certain way, or if it is about having one's life feel fulfilling, productive, helping society. I'm not sure what the end goal is, but it tends to feel like a hamster caught on one of those wheels in the habit trail where people just go round and round and round and don't get anywhere. And if you look at the demographic of people who are selling this lifestyle, it tends to always be the same. I have been on the struggle bus. I have 2 children. I was faced with a sudden separation in 2014. Their father then passed away in 2018, 4 years later. And for the past 5 years, I have been raising these 2 children on my own while holding down a job, handling a business, maintaining a house that always seems to need something. I have a rising junior about to head back to college, tuition that I have to pay. I have a 15-year-old who is a rising sophomore about to return to high school, who plays the upright bass beautifully. And in order to provide him with the opportunities to do so, I'm shelling out money for extracurricular jazz programs so that he can have the best. I don't want my kids to end up having to start from scratch like so many generations of boys of color have had to do. I want to give them a leg up. I don't want them to have a lot of student loan debt when they graduate. And I know a lot of you have the misperception that because I am now a solo parent and my children are half Black, that somehow they are going to go to school for free. This could not be further from the truth. There is no freeness about this. I either take out loans or I pay for it or they pay for it. So I'm not quite sure what people think when they look at people of color, if they just think that everybody gets free grant money and ends up not paying for college, but students of color end up statistically with more student loan debt than anybody else. I cannot, for the life of me, wrap my mind around how people are allocating their time when they can sit for hours and play with their paper. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't have downtime and relaxation time, but by the time I get my house in order, my children in order, my finances in order, work, get the laundry done, make sure everybody is taken care of, my parents are aging, I need to deal with that, all of that. Who has the time to not only like binge watch television shows, but get some reading in, catch up on current events, understand what their money is doing, and then sit down and color code and add stickers and washi tapes to notebooks for hours on end with neat little perfect handwriting? I'm not quite sure what it is that we are trying to sell. And it's primarily women. When I go and I, search for the keywords, I am not finding that men are doing this. When men are talking about journaling or they are talking about planning. They are talking about it for the purpose of it being the means to an end, whether it be self-growth or self-improvement or productivity of some sort. But we vigorously are defending this hobby that costs thousands of dollars as a way perhaps of escaping the madness of the world. And I get it. I get it. It's better than drinking. It is. It's better than doing drugs. It really is better than those things. But having said that, can we still be better? Because I have thousands of dollars of this stuff. So I understand the draw. I understand the quick hits of dopamine. And I understand how short-lived and expensive those short hits of dopamine are. I also understand the need and desire for community. Women want community. Perhaps men want community too. We are built that way. We are social beings. Years ago we had, knitting circles and quilting bees, and women would get together and do those things and at the same time be able to discuss family matters and households and relationship issues. And that was our time to be together. And I think, on some organic level, notebooks and planners provide, or we're supposed to provide, that kind of sense of community. But because we are so now online for any community and driven by algorithms and capitalism, it becomes a consumer venture. There's no way around it. As soon as you start getting a following, you start getting pushed into a consumer driven fake community where now you are making money, you are being hit up for sponsorships, you are tied in with all sorts of things that pull you in all different directions. Because don't think these influences, or influencers rather, that are influencing you are not making money, because many of them are. They're making money from ads. They're getting free stuff from sponsors. You don't think I paid for all of this stuff, do you? I paid for some of it. I stupidly paid for some of it. I paid too much for some of it. But a lot of it was given to me for free or at discounted prices so that you would see that I have them, and then you would want that too. I would like to just say on the record that this is not about Baumkuchen, because Baumkuchen is the one place that I can write for their community. And if you notice, I can write for their community and never have to mention a single thing that they sell. My notebook cover is not even sold by them. They invited me to write for them so that I could talk about journaling and writing and the process, the creative and motivational and productivity based processes that go into writing, and how that can help us grow and lead to wellness and healing and self-improvement and all of that great stuff without having to push product, despite the fact that they are retailers. So this is not about them, because anything that I show you or share with you that is available on their website has been purchased with my money, whether it is money out of my pocket or money that I make when I write for them, because I am employed by them. So let's get that out of the way and be transparent. But a lot of other stuff that I have was either given to me for free or at a discount, so that, or I bought with my own money just because I wanted to be part of the whole community. I just want to move some out of the way so we could just talk about and focus on just a little bit of this stuff that I have here. So when I started out as a kid, probably because I was dealing with some trauma, childhood trauma, I was also a perhaps writer by nature. You know, some kids are athletic, some kids are artistic, some kids are musical. And I was a kid who liked to read and write. And so when I read Harriet the Spy and she had a notebook, I wanted a notebook like hers. And I'm pretty sure the first notebook I had was similar to this composition book with this black and white marbled cover. And I would just write all sorts of observations in it, lists. Didn't matter what I was writing. I just liked to put pen to paper. And at some point, with my allowance, I think I was probably 12 years old, I bought a fountain pen because I was going through a whole bunch of stuff and felt for some reason that if I wrote my words with a fountain pen, it would give them greater weight. Was that true? I don't know. But it helped psychologically to think that I had this sort of power and I wielded this sort of power. But then I found my way to a Facebook group. That was the first place that it started. And I can't even remember how it happened, but it coincided with me going through one of the most difficult periods of my life, in which my ex-husband walked out on our family. Boom. So I'm notebook and journaling driven. And now I'm dealing with stress and pressure. And one thing that I always did, probably a little bit OCD, definitely anxiety related, was that anytime I would be going through a difficult period in my time, I'd want a new notebook. And so at that same time that I was going through what I was going through, I found my way to a Traveler's Notebook community. First Traveler's Notebook. And so it was a community. And a community is probably what I needed more than anything. It was literally a godsend. And in fact, this is not the first one that I got. The first one that I got was this one, which was made by an artisan in Canada, because I was used to writing in moleskin notebooks. And so I wrote in moleskins. They're like A5 size, and this wasn't. And as much as I wanted to be a part of the Traveler's Notebook community, I couldn't see myself writing in anything smaller than what I was already used to writing in. And so I got this. It was delivered to me. I put my I don't know how you pronounce it, not Traveler's Notebooks, moleskins in there, and it weighed an absolute freaking ton. And I was always used to writing in just one notebook, but everybody seems to be writing in these multiple notebooks, and I figured I should try to do the same thing. And when I tell you it was the beginning of just a massive amount of chaos for me, that's how it all started. Eventually, probably not even a month later, I still craved the actual Traveler's Notebook because that's what everyone else had. And this made me feel like some sort of imposter. Plus, it was so heavy. It was heavy as hell. I couldn't carry that anywhere with 3 things in it. And so I spent money that I didn't have on this one. I don't even like brown notebooks that much, but you know, everybody had the brown one. They were talking about the patina, whatever, whatever. I ended up getting this one in 2014. There were others that followed. I decided I really wasn't into these brown notebooks, and I wanted to go back to using black, which was the color that most of my stuff always was. And I got this one, and it worked out fine. It actually ended up in the washing machine at some point. I can't even remember how that happened. But anyway, it survived that and it was fine. But then I switched when my sons got this one for me. They got this one embossed around the time of, right after the death of their father. He died in June. And then in December for Christmas, they got me this one. And it really happens for me that when I change or turn over new leaves, when something significant happens in my life, I tend to get a new notebook. That's just what I do. And now, though, you know, we used to have notebooks like this. Getting a new notebook now is costing $50, $60, $70, whatever, however much, right? That's those. And so when I tell you, I get it. Let's just talk money. Some of the stuff I paid for full price, some of it I did not, but let's just talk money for a second. So I use a Smythson writing folder. We'll get into it on another video why I use a Smythson, and I did not pay full price for this, but it also was not cheap. But full price, the Smythson Mara A5 writing folder. Mara is a crocodile embossed one. Years ago, they had Python embossing. The Mara right now, $595 new. $595. Yo, okay? This is my most expensive pen. So I will share this one with you when we're tallying up costs, because people get obsessed with having what other people have. Do not try to have what I have. It makes no sense and it doesn't make my life any better, okay? This is my Aurora Optima fountain pen. Does it write beautifully? Yes, it does. It is a beautiful pen. I love looking at it. I don't like when it leaks on my stuff, but I love looking at it. It's very, very aesthetically pleasing. It retails for something like $475, $500. I don't know what it retails for right now. I think I've had it since 2016 or so. I didn't pay a penny for it. Okay? Not a penny. It was a sponsorship deal, and I still have it, and I haven't used it in years. My Pastelco toolbox. I got this with store credit from the work that I do. It is a pencil case, pen case, toolbox, whatever you want to call it, by a company called Pastelco. It's a Japanese company. I carry it every day. It retails for $215. $215. So we have $595, $475, $550, $215. This has inside of it the new planner that I'm using. That was only $15.95 or 90 cents Muji. And this is the pen I always use, which is a Pentel Libretto. I think it was 30 something dollars, and it takes refills, and I refill it all the time. And that's what I use right now. I'm also going to use that. It was 90 cents. And this is my Pastelco snap pad. Again, I bought this with my own money. It was something like $34 empty. The paper's $10. The envelope that's in it, another $10. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. And I I just want to say that it does nothing different than I could do with this. Whatever I'm doing with all of this, I could do with this. And this, if I wanted to get fancy, this Muji $1.90 pen that I have. All of the planning that I do, all of the to-do lists, all of the personal writing that I do, all of the brainstorming, all of the list making, every single thing that I do with words, with writing, could be accomplished in this composition book with this pen, either by just writing in the lines that are here, by adding lines or headings. People did it all the time. Geniuses. Leonardo da Vinci, who else? Anne Frank. She had a diary that is probably the most profoundly influential diary that we know today. We know today. And she was a kid, and she was writing in a diary with no fancy stuff, no YouTube videos to tell her how to do it. And she left us with a chronicle of epic proportions that continue to provide us with insight to this very day. No YouTube videos, no sponsorships, no soft-spoken, manicured women trying to tell you what to do and how to do it. So I'm just going to leave it at that, because this is like a full-on rant at this point, but I have kept so much of this pent up for so long that I will use this as a kickoff to start the conversation, because I wholeheartedly believe in the power of writing, in the power of writing to communicate with ourselves, our inner selves, the power to communicate with others. I am a writer. I am a writing professor. I am a long time keeper of notebooks. I love talking to people about their writing processes and about their notebooks. I love notebooks. I love pens. I love handwriting. What I don't love is this bullshit, addiction, obsession, nonsense that to me is nonsense, that seems to occupy and steal some of the most valuable resources that women have, which is time, our time, and money. So I'm going to leave it at that. And you can make comments, but don't make, I'm warning you, do not make any comments that are going to piss me off in the comment section, because I am just going to delete those. I'm going to delete those, because if it's pissing you off to that extent, then this is not about you. You are not my people. I am not your people. This is not your community. This is not a safe space for you. I'm not trying to make it a safe space for you. You have a community. You have tons of women who like to play with notebooks and like to share their hauls and like to do all of that stuff. Go talk with them. Be free. I'm not stopping you from doing that. But what I would like to be is a beacon of light for the young women and men who perhaps are like myself, like I was, who needed to use writing as a way of dealing with trauma that was real. And I needed to write. I needed to write. I swear to God, it saved my life. And it would have cost me nothing because a teacher would have given me one of these notebooks. I give Muji notebooks to my students every single semester. If I had asked one of my teachers for a notebook, she would have given it to me. And a pen that I could have picked up anywhere for nothing. This could have cost nothing, and I would have been able to do what I needed to do without having to feel like I needed to fit in with the other girls. Because you know what? I didn't fit in with the other girls. I was an outsider. I was struggling with just trying to stay me, keep afloat, stay alive, stay true to who I was, keep my voice, fight against things. That's what I needed writing for. I wasn't trying to be cute. I wasn't trying to belong to the club. I was trying to fight and stay alive. I was trying to survive and thrive. And those are the young women that this is for and about. I want to be their beacon of light, not yours. Just keep it moving and go play with your notebook. I ranted for so long, I ran out of battery on my camera. But anyway, this is for the individuals who want to and need to come to writing to preserve their own voices, to make space, to have space in which to do that. I'm here. That's what I want to talk about. That's what I'm about. And I believe that we can create a very real community about really real things that are centered on writing. All right. So have a wonderful day, week, month, wherever this finds you and leaves you. And hopefully I'll see you again. Bye.